Hello everyone, my name is Christy. I am a psychotherapist and a relationship coach. Welcome back to my channel. In this community, all I am trying to do is promote healthy habits when it comes to relational health, and specifically you gentlemen, men. By no means do I have lived experiences when it comes to living the life of a man or a heterosexual male. However, though, I'm here anyways because these themes, taboo topics, and what women is actually responsible for in destroying your sense of mental health and your sense of identity as a man needs to be out in public and needs to be highlighted more. And so that's why I'm here today. So if you are old here, welcome back. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for learning. And I hope you're doing some work in actually improving your own sense of perception of reality and who you are as a man, and also your mental health and relationships as a whole. Because my whole goal is to close the gap between men and women. And I've said this a lot. I'm a lover of love, beautiful children. And so please, that's my whole mission, because relationships really is the pinnacle of what drives humanity. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please do me a favor and hit that like button and that subscribe button, because it helps me understand what kind of content you guys like listening to, like learning about, and it also helps me understand whether or not I should continue my YouTube channel. So chime in, hit that subscribe button while you have time. I'm gonna wait a little bit, and that like button, and comment down below. Why did you click in this video? What is going through in your head? So before I speak anymore, in this video, we'll be breaking down some of these topics. And excuse me, I have some notes in front of me. First off, what porn and attractive women are really doing to a man's brain. Your brain specifically, and the dopamine and serotonin balance or imbalances or dynamics between sex and love, and how beauty, or what I call the beauty bank or the economy of beauty, manipulates male psychology specifically. So if you have boys, if you're raising young boys and you're a father yourself and you don't want him to be controlled by women, this one's gonna be for you. And if you're also in that train of you find yourself easily influenced by porn, beautiful women texting you ups and downs of hot and cold, but she's really, really beautiful, this one's also gonna be for you. And very lastly, and what's most important to me, is what should you as a man, as a father, as a friend to your male friends, male colleagues, what can you gentlemen do about it? And I'm going to break it down and take a more logical and structural step-by-step action steps, you could call it, that you can implement into your daily life to hopefully take a little bit more control over your desires, your relationships, and your overall focus, or what I call your locus of control in your own brain and as a man. Because let's be real, women highly influence how men choose to behave and climb up the social hierarchy nowadays, and what their perception of themselves are. Women are a huge proponent to that. It's a huge influence, okay? So you could call it taboo, but it's really not. It's happening every single day, and as a therapist, I see this all of the time. First off, let's go over a little bit of neuroscience-based chemical reactions, you could call it. I don't like to use really complicated words, but essentially what your brain is doing, and also some of the chemicals involved when it comes to attraction and porn. And porn is one that is extremely important for me to discuss, because it kind of gives you a very easy to understand example of what your brain is actually built to do and be attracted to, the chemicals involved. But with knowledge comes more self-awareness, and more self-awareness comes control. And so let's start with these topics, okay? But more so, what I want you to take away from this specific section is that chemicals involved in your brain influences what you're attracted to and what you're not. So, gentlemen, when you're watching porn, or you see an attractive woman walk down the street, what is actually happening inside your brain? Your dopamine system starts to light up. And I call it light up because, quite figuratively, if you take a scan, a part of your brain is actually lighting up. Now, you don't really need to know what part of the brain it is. Just imagine a light bulb lighting up. okay? Dopamine specifically is a chemical of craving, pursuit, and novelty, and it tells your brain, oh, that looks good. I want it. I need it. Go get it. And when you're constantly scrolling and watching through all of these beautiful ladies, what is actually happening? Because a lot of people are doing this consistently. A lot of women have their own dopamine novelty topics, and a lot of men have it as well. And men more so probably focus on muscles, money, and women. And today I'm talking about women, okay, and porn, okay? And so if you're doing this consistently, gentlemen, you're building a higher and higher and higher threshold of tolerance. Just like any drug, any pain receptors, okay? The more you lean in, the more you work out, the more you start having a higher threshold for your muscles being sore. And so you might not be as aware that you might actually have an injury. And so this is very much like porn. Porn trains your brain to need more and more stimulation to feel the same type of excitement. And so the beginning might be very easy for you to spark joy, excitement, that dopamine hit. But the more and consistently you are exposing yourself to these type of content, beautiful women, Instagram, okay, the harder it is for you to feel excitement. And this is how it affects intimacy and relationships and what I call basic attraction. Real intimacy starts to feel slow, dull, and boring. Real women start to feel disappointing, boring, not enough, and you don't connect. You start to lose the urge to actually connect, and you increase your urge to actually compare. We've actually had a male clients come in and tell us, and one of my therapists specifically, I want to love my wife, but I'm not attracted to her anymore. I can't finish during sex unless I picture something else, someone else, another woman. Feel numb, nothing excites me except porn and fantasies. And that's not because he was broken by any means, but it's actually his brain's reward system being completely hijacked before he even noticed it. And so if this sounds like something that you're going through as a man, if you feel like you're in a very happy marriage, but you're just not attracted to your wife anymore, I would suggest you control what you're exposing in your brain, what is rotting away in your brain, and the actions in which you're actually involved in that might be affecting your relationship without even knowing it. And if this is something of a highly concerning topic or problem in your life, feel free to click the link below and you can talk to one of our therapists who specializes in this topic. And no, we're not just here to talk about it. We're going to give you some strategies by digging into your life and your actions and your behaviors and breaking down some of the dysfunctional and more toxic behaviors that you may be involved in that is affecting your own mental health, perception of reality, and obviously your relationship at the end. Number 2, let's break down porn a little bit more, because I do know this is a huge influence in our society today. Whether it be your life as a father, how you choose to connect to your wife, how you choose to solve problems, and how you, if you're single, what real connection actually means, and the amount of control you actually have to connect to a woman that you may not believe is someone you're actually attracted to. Sounds crazy, right? And the 2 chemicals that I want you guys to keep in your head is dopamine and serotonin. And here's what porn doesn't actually give you. Porn doesn't give you any serotonin at all. Serotonin specifically. Please take notes if you guys are listening, or if you can even type it into ChatGPT to give you a bigger and more detailed breakdown of what serotonin is, because it doesn't just affect men, okay? It affects everyone. And it's a chemical that you can actually choose to control and increase and decrease the more aware you are of its effects and its importance in your brain and your daily life and the choices that you choose to make. Okay? Serotonin is a chemical of satisfaction, stability, and connection. It's what I call the calming chemical. It's what I also call the safe chemical, the relaxed chemical. And it's what floods your brain after meaningful conversation, after really good sex. And that's why, guys, when you orgasm afterwards, when you feel like you just want to chill and sleep, it's because your brain is flooded with serotonin, or that deep level of emotional intimacy where it just feels really calm and safe. Now, porn or pre-sex stages is not serotonin related. You're chasing something, you're chasing novelty, you're chasing to get something. So that's all related to dopamine. Dopamine says, I want, I need, I want. Serotonin specifically says, I'm content. But here's the specific kicker. Overuse of porn and repeated dopamine spikes, or the gaps or lack of gaps or breaks that you choose to take in between dopamine spikes, lowers your sensitivity to serotonin. So even if your brain is releasing serotonin, if you're very used to the cycle of dopamine, or you're used to getting your next high or next rush or next spike, maybe after you've hit it once, you're gonna hit it again, right? That lowers your sensitivity to serotonin. You might not even know what serotonin even feels like in your body and in your brain as a man. And that specifically shows you and explains to you when you're feeling like life is a little bit boring, when you feel like your relationship is a little bit boring, when you feel like your work could be a little bit boring, when you feel like in general life feels dim, it means that you may not be used to serotonin. And serotonin feels safe, it feels flat. And a woman who's emotionally available, possibly someone who gives a lot, invests a lot, and also believes that her service to you is more important than taking from you. I know they seem like they don't exist, but if you are a man who have that type of woman, or maybe even a mother that was extremely nurturing, that may be boring, safety, emotionally available, but it can also feel boring in a romantic sense, in love, in your relationship. And this type of woman won't trigger a sense of excitement or rush or spike, or what people call spark or chemistry nowadays, in a way that the screen will, that social media will, that porn will. So now your brain is wired to chase intensity in sex, intensity in intimate moments, intensity at work, intensity in your everyday life, all of the time. I'm not just talking about porn. I'm not talking about just women. Money, right? Getting your next bigger house or nicer car or nicer watch, XYZ. That is not intimacy. That's you falling into the traps of the dopamine rush or roller coaster. So gentlemen, if this feels uncomfortably accurate, that's because it's not just science. It's in your lived experience. What I'm talking about right now is content and information that obviously relates to most general population. But you, as an individual, you alone watching this, have lived experiences that can possibly relate to some of the topics and themes and information that I'm talking about. And so this is something that we see all of the time, constantly in men's therapy, specifically in my practice. And this is more specifically related to that smart, high-functioning man who is stuck in that loop of the D word, depression, feeling like he's never happy, feeling like he can never sit down and enjoy life, or he's never satisfied even when he has most of the check boxes checked off. That hyper focused on perfectionism type man and beauty. But more of the bigger problem that I want to talk about is that man who's unable to actually connect to people, sit in his serotonin stage, and bond with the people that are extremely important to him. The quality relationships that he wants to form and sustain. And if that's what you're experiencing, I don't want you to start shaming yourself. Stop carrying around shame around it. This is why I'm creating this video today. But if that's you and you feel like you're done pretending and you want to get out of this loop, feel free to speak to a therapist, or you can speak to one of our therapists. Click the link in below in the description and you can book a session or a consultation with one of our therapists and see if we can help you, because this is something that we've done a lot of studying around, because to be honest, men's mental health is important, but we cannot use the same strategies or focus on the same problems that the general population is going through when men have very subjective pains and problems that affect your mental health. And this is why we focused on serving men, therapists serving men and only. Click that link in below and you can fill out that form, and you can also book a consultation and ask some of the questions that you have to our therapist to see if your insurance is covered. Now, more importantly, now that you have this information, why is this miraculously happening even before you watch this video? As a woman friends with multiple women, and as a woman who really sees the different existential connections that men and women use in order to interact and attract each other for attention and investments, I'm not talking about just money, but love, sex, nurturing, effort, loyalty, provisions, and safety, right? There's an exchange in relationships. Now let's talk about how women in general have strategically hooked you so that you can be more aware of it. Really attractive women today, and I am just going to say it out loud because I know I'm about to get a lot of heat for this. If you're a woman, I am a woman's girl, I'm a girl's girl, but I'm by no means am I talking to a singular woman. If you don't behave this way, great, all good to you. I love good women who is all about being feminine and healthy and high value, which means serving and making an impact on the relationships that she cares about. But I am talking generally and the trends that I see in modern relationships and modern society. So attractive women today, intentionally or not, use hardwired psychological triggers to command male attention. And to be honest, it works. And I've seen it work even for me. And it's hard not to be tempted to use it. So listen very closely. And I'm just listing some of the strategies that may work. For instance, makeup, mimic fertility cues, red lips, blush, long lashes, femininity. They all signal high estrogen. And this is something that is enhanced, whether it be just mascara, if gentlemen, you know what mascara is, or even as far as lash extensions that look really, really over brushed. It all signals the same thing, okay? Or secondly, tight clothes, high heels, really, really pouty selfies. They activate areas of a brain or a man's brain tied to visual arousal and pursuit. Or very lastly, withholding attention. And I know, gentlemen, you hate this, and we women love that you hate it, okay? Playing cold, playing hot and cold. We know that it triggers you, and we know it triggers specifically a part of your brain that is scarce, the scarcity mindset. And it's natural. It's nothing to beat yourself up for it. But however, if you know that it's happening, just realize there is no black or white answer. There should be a level of control when it comes to maybe she is genuinely just busy, but It's the intention. If she is using the strategy to intentionally manipulate you, gentlemen, if you're not aware of it, please be aware of it now, okay? And it's a psychological bias that makes you chase even harder. And when all of these strategies are used and combined with social media algorithms, you're not just noticing beautiful women. You're being conditioned and controlled by social media and society and by everything around you that is changing to fall for these strategies. So these women have become digital rewards, real rewards, and your brain starts prioritizing chasing fantasy over building something real. Now, I have makeup on, I have lashes on, my hair is curled. However, though, it's all about balance, gentlemen. Is your perception of and reaction to beautiful women highly influenced by the popular culture trends or her body or her really hot fat lips, juicy lips, or is there a little bit extra, right? And so guys, that's just what I'm trying to tell you. Please be aware that it's supposed to be attractive. Women do these things to create more reaction from you, but you have to choose a woman who obviously isn't just doing that to control you, right? And it's not about me telling you, oh, men are shallow, men are da-da-da-da-da. You are attracted to what you're attracted, and it is a very ancient, what I call evolutionary psychology, biology in men that is not something that you can control and should be ashamed about. However, though, you should be aware about it. And if it goes overboard, you're just implementing yourself in a loop or injecting yourself in a loop that you should have asked not to be in, or you should have realized you shouldn't be in. Number 4, I have to bring in a little bit more psychology into this because I'm a psychotherapist and I want to get into how men got stuck here specifically. And as a practitioner, what have I seen in my male clients, in my therapist male clients, that makes it get this bad? Or how did it get this bad? From a psychotherapy lens or a therapy type lens or a brain lens, whatever you want to call it. From a therapy lens or psychology lens or a brain lens, whatever you want to call it, a lot of the men that I've seen that are stuck in this cycle are also extremely performance-based in their self-worth. External performance or external validation is extremely attached to his sense of self-worth. And more importantly, you were taught as a young boy or as a man or by your friends or by social media or the things that you're injecting into your brain or reading every single day. It's not just your childhood, but it is engulfed in what your confirmation bias is attached to since you were born as a first milestone, but it encapsulates your entire livelihood. You have to earn love or validation with money, success, status, or more specifically, sexual conquest. How many women you as a man are able to actually attract? That specifically is your value, and it's also measured in what and who and what woman can you get in the social hierarchy. And emotion equates to weakness, and lust equates to power. The more you're able to increase the lusting feelings within any reaction or any relationship that you form with even a friend, a female friend, any coworker, any, that what people call that charismatic man in the office. It's not just women, okay, guys? That's what I talk about. Or women specifically, lust equates to power, that you're a powerful man. So porn becomes what I see as your therapist. Attractive women become your scorecard. And love becomes something that you don't actually fully trust because you've never explored how to trust it. It's just been a number. And here's the truth. No man or woman actually knows you. Real love activates a different part of your brain, gentlemen. It's what I call long-term bonding, empathy, vulnerability, regulation. Did I say vulnerability? I did, right? When you only engage sexually through fantasy or superficial beauty, and I'm not talking about that man who you may not only care about that, but I'm telling you that you were influenced before you even realized it. If you're only or mostly involved in fantasy or the next high or the next dopamine hit, you stay locked in to your brain's limbic system, okay? And it's what I call the reactive, reward-seeking, dopamine-seeking rush cycle. And the more you're on this train, the more empty and numb, gentlemen, that you feel. Now, this brings me to the very last section of this video, and if you've made it this far, thank you. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you don't hate me for saying some of these things. I hope you're welcoming, and I may not know a lot of things, okay? I'm a woman, but I have my dopamine cycles that I have to get out of as well. Not relying too much on male attention, for instance. Surprise, right? Your problems are women's problems too sometimes, but just in a different way. What can you gentlemen do about it? And it's coming from a woman. Yeah, it's coming from a therapist, but it's also mostly coming from a woman, okay? It is supposed to feel good. Getting a beautiful woman to sleep with you is supposed to feel good. Getting a beautiful woman to like you and be investing in you in time and effort should feel good, okay? It should. So, newsflash, that's dopamine, okay? But what you want to be more involved in is the serotonin cycles that you want to get yourself into. Bonding, deeper discoveries within yourself. Are there parts of you as a man that you've tried to exude that are actually not you? Did you just do it to chase the girl, chase the beautiful girl, but now you got her, now she's married to you? Does it feel like you don't believe in reality, or you feel like you can't let her see the real side of you? This is what we teach in therapy, gentlemen. Welcome. And I hope you're waking up right now at this point of the video. I hope it's bringing you a little bit of light bulbs flashing. How we talk about dopamine, right? But this is, I guess, a good sense of dopamine. You're getting new information. Here's what we teach in therapy. Number 1 is what I call the porn detox. Minimum 30 days, reclaiming your dopamine baseline. Okay? What level of dopamine is actually neutral, normal, and average for you? You'll feel worse at first. You might not know why you feel so bored, so numb. You might need to actually have different types of dopamines to fill in the gap sometimes. So you'll feel worse, but you'll feel clarity after, and that's the point. Number 2, tracking your urges, not just behaviors. What time of the day, what mood, what trigger. This reveals emotional wounds. And I'm not just talking about porn. I'm talking about when you feel like you want to have sex, or when you feel like you really need a woman's attention. Surprise, surprise, right? Where are those urges coming from? What kind of equation have you formed in your head that makes you feel like a woman's attention, sex, or porn can satisfy or calm you down, or it is the goal? Track those, because we need knowledge, right? We need data. Number 3, practice emotional connection. Surprise, surprise. You probably don't think that's important. I've probably heard it multiples of times. But what is not important is usually because you were never used to even doing it. And I'm talking about what I call the serotonin cycles, increasing your ability to volunteer yourself and inject yourself into a stage of serotonin, okay? This is what I call real intimacy, catching up with an old friend, having a day to yourself that is not involved in earning money or climbing the next rank, connecting with your wife that doesn't involve sex, being curious about who you are, digging deeper into who she is, your girlfriend or wife, okay? Serotonin related activities are extremely important. Going for a light walk with no music. Scary, right? You're stuck with your brain. Real intimacy and voluntarily injecting yourself into a state of serotonin is like a muscle that you never used before. and it needs to be reworked and woken up for it to actually learn to feel safe again and for you to actually feel used to it. Okay. Number 4, from chasing to choosing. And gentlemen, I know you love this topic because if you are stuck in the train of chasing women, I want you to know you've been caught into the traps of a woman's strategy. Okay? And it's time to get yourself out of it. What you want to do is you want to start noticing character over chaos, peace over thrill. If you are stuck in the train of chasing, it's likely that you're dealing with women that have very highs and very lows, ebbs and flows with gaps that are far beyond baseline, okay? And what your brain is actually telling you is that you need your next high, you need your next thrill. And a lot of men tell me that they don't like hot and cold women, but I beg to differ. I think you don't know what you actually don't know, because the thrill is a natural and very, very, very ancient cycle that we all fall into, okay? So start noticing when you're starting to choose chaos over character, maybe. That can highlight, oh, I might be actually in a dopamine hit. And start noticing when you're actually involved in wanting more thrill than peace. And that's also you being in a dopamine cycle. And so by being able to be self-aware of these cycles, then you'll slowly regress in your chasing mentality and start embracing your choosing mentality and behaviors. Number 5, rebuilding your serotonin sensitivity. And this one's very important. There are multitudes of evidence-based and academic papers out there talking about serotonin and the different strategies that you can use in order to increase your sensitivity to serotonin. Now, I want to say women more likely than not have a little bit more sensitivity towards serotonin. We have to focus on child rearing, childbearing, and so we have to, you could call it, focus on building intimacy. Now, I'm not talking about all women, I'm talking about, generally speaking, the biology of women. So how do you increase your sensitivity to serotonin? What are some routines that you can actually implement as a man? You've probably heard of cold exposure, texting your guy friends, how are you, meaningful challenges, and yes, of course, gentlemen, a book or therapy. So this video is an extremely important one that I wanted to get out and for you guys to learn about. It's something that I have seen affect everybody in our society, and more specifically men, and I don't think people and gentlemen, you guys hear about it enough. You guys are just focused on your normal coping mechanisms like going to the gym, going for a run, going out with your guy friends and drinking and just compartmentalizing the downfalls of your mental health, right? Those can probably keep you prevent you from doing crazy things, prevent you from misdemeanors. However, though, it's just crisis intervention. If you want full control, you need to be more self-aware of how your biology, the chemicals in your brain, and how society and women have affected you, okay? So this video is supposed to be very informative, but it's not supposed to just be about your sex life or how beautiful women affects you, but it's about peace and your ability to create it. That peace doesn't just drop onto your lap. It's also about emotional regulation, emotional confidence, emotional competency. That's what I like a little bit more, and what Andrew Tate always likes talking about. Stoicism, real stoicism, your ability to truly connect, but also create some of the spark and fun and excitement and flirts when you want to without abusing it, okay? Gentlemen, I hope this video convinced you to be done with being reactive, running on triggers and urges and your next dopamine hit. Images online, porn, endless cravings. I hope this woke you up, and if you feel like this is the work that you want to do with yourself as an investment for yourself, as a growth for yourself to be in more control of your mental health and your identity as a man, feel free to book a call with one of our therapists. The first call will be a consultation for us to break down some of the struggles and the thoughts that you have going into it, for us to map out what you possibly are going through and some of the problems and blind spots you may be falling into, and then hopefully some of the practices, solutions that we have in order to bring you out of this cycle. So if you're interested in a consultation with one of our therapists, feel free to click the link in our description to book a call with one of our team members. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, gentlemen, no man, no boy was born into a world that was naturally built on dopamine stimulation, okay? And so we are in a world that is extremely stimulating, and so you're just overstimulated in a way where your system profits from the overstimulation, but it also creates a byproduct of emptiness and the lack of happiness or peace, you could call it, right? Serotonin. So let's fix that. And if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend and comment down below, what did you learn? And until next time, I'm Christy, and goodbye. Hi everyone, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget to follow us on TikTok and IG where we post daily, and YouTube where we post weekly.